snack cakes, and welcome back to Dusk, a Two-Lit podcast, Time Capsule Edition. And today I have two very lovely, very beautiful, incredibly talented guests. Guests, speak. Who are you? What you do?
Yeah.
Morgan, tell us who you are.
That was a performance. I really liked it.
That's why you hired me.
Yeah, I know. What am I saying?
I'm just kidding. Eva-Marie, who are you? What did you do in Dusk?
Hello, my name is Eva-Marie Blaire, and I played Bia Stork in Dusk.
Can you show us a lip bite? Yeah, that's her.
Yeah,
That's me.
100%. That's her. Cannot doubt it. Cannot doubt it. One. So this episode is coming out many, many months after the other episodes that we have recorded. We are recording this many, many months after the other episodes were recorded. And yeah, so today we're going to talk about Dusk, Fringe, past, future, manifesting, and all of that good stuff. Where should we begin? Ladies?
Oh boy. Do we want to hear about Eva's experience a little bit?
Yeah. I think the people have waited long enough to hear about.
This goes way back.
way back. So almost a year ago now, you would have been auditioning for this piece.
Yeah, I think was it around like May? Well, we would have been in rehearsals, I think, this time last year. So that's scary to think about, isn't it?
It's weird to think we didn't know each other a year ago.
I know, and now we're all Chaos Goblins together. It's such a beautiful transition.
As evidenced by that intro, that marvelous intro that we just had.
Yeah, we practiced that for days.
Oh, yeah, 100%. No, improv is my passion.
Oh God.
So how did you find Dusk?
I was scrolling through TikTok and I came across Dusk and I was like, I grew up with Star Kid and all of that, and I've been wondering for years why no one ever made a Twilight parody musical. I remember saying when I was about 12 years old to my friends and obsessed with Star Kid, like, I want to play Bella Swan in a Twilight parody musical. I literally manifested it in. But I was scrolling through TikTok and I came across it. I was like, yes, someone's finally done it. So I gave the page a little follow, and I think it was only about a week later they posted the casting call, and I was like, well, I gotta go for that. So I did, and here we are now, a year later, about to take it back for the second time. So it's all very exciting.
Eva's our resident Twilight expert as well. And all the facts all the time, which is so nice.
And too much. It's a gift and a curse, honestly.
He's like a resident rat though, and it's so nice because when I'm like saying things that other people don't know what I'm talking about, Eva always gets it. True. Eva also sometimes is like, actually, the rats would love this. And I'm like, you're so right.
I just am a rat, so I know what they like.
The rat queen. The rat queen.
I live in the sewer, honestly.
And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, the Twilight sewer posting group on Facebook. I don't know how many members it has, quite a few. Eva's always in there. It was one of them.
Delightful.
Yeah.
Absolutely delightful. So ladies, what is keeping you two lit this week? What's giving you life? Let the people know months later what was keeping you lit this week in July of 2024.
Honestly, just rehearsals for this year's Fringe. Been practicing, learning songs. We're doing 2 shows this year, one of which is Dusk. So just mentally preparing for the chaos to begin again.
Today is July 8th, 2024, which means I think we open in like 34 days. Ask me if I'm ready. Absolutely not. So Dusk is always on the mind right now. And No Filter, the other show that we're bringing to Fringe. But right now I'm going through all of the costumes and everything, getting everything packed to ship over to have again, and worrying about like making sure the wigs are going to be styled, and you guys have your new music and stuff hopefully soon, and trying to work one-on-one with everybody to figure out the finishing touches for the structure of this year's Fringe show, which is a like special edition version of Dusk we're doing. I mean, I guess this comes out afterwards. So it's like as the roast of Edwin and Bia, basically, because we weren't going to be able to do the full-length show, but wanted to give like something new. And we had certain songs and like other bonus content ideas that we had either worked on previously or filmed that just hadn't ever made the show. So we're like, why not do it now? And it gives everybody that was involved before and wants to be involved again a chance to kind of flex their creativity a little bit and do some new stuff. Like Eva mentioned, she's a chaos goblin. We've gotten to work together on some chaotic projects over the past year. And Eva's got a real love for editing. So we've got a shot list, like at this point, miles long of things that we need to film that's going to be featured in the live show this summer. And then just some other stuff for social media. So we've got some fun things coming. I think everyone that I've talked to is excited about Fringe right now, which is cool. But the pressure's absolutely on. I think we're at a point now where it's like, oh, this is really happening like very imminently. So, so it's got us all really lit, I think.
We're too lit for how imminent Dusk is.
Yeah. We can't escape it.
It's inexplicable.
Mm-hmm.
What's currently keeping me too lit is that yesterday I got back from 2 days in London seeing 3 shows.
Yeah.
Absolutely unhinged, nonstop. Got there, saw shows, went home. And I could not have seen a more diverse grouping of shows if I had tried.
What were they?
I saw Next to Normal,
Mm-hmm.
Hello Dolly, and Six.
Yep. And Caroline.
And yeah, Caroline was at 6.
Morgan was secretly there.
No, I saw it on Instagram and I was like, oh my God, I love when they see each other.
Yeah, we walked in because absolute deluge was happening in London yesterday. And the doorman took pity on us and were like, yeah, just come in. Just come in. And I walked up and I was just like, Caroline? Hello? She's like, oh,
for listeners, that was our ensemble member who famously plays the fan in the biology scene. Yeah. Does a great job.
She's lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Fantastic, yeah. And works at 6 in London.
Yeah. So went and saw those shows and had some of the best empanadas in my life, which was also so lit from the Borough Market.
You know what actually has me too lit? Thinking about Taco Libre and the frozen banana margarita.
Real talk.
Yeah,
Real talk. Ooh, Taco Libre. Mwah.
Fantastic.
All right, enough about that. I have been promised some tea that I was not privy to about most unhinged Fringe experiences that I apparently did not ever hear. And I have heard everyone else's stories except for one person in the cast. And I need to know. The information gathering goblin in my brain needs to know and needs to collect it all still.
Oh God, there's so many unhinged experiences from last year. Literally, so I could go on for an entire podcast talking about this. One that I was telling Cosette earlier though, there is a particularly unhinged one that has to do with my costume that I'm not sure I've shared with either of you before. So in the last week of our run at Fringe last year, unfortunately, one of our sound tech people fell ill and had to be hospitalized. So we had Alex step in, who is a wonderful human being. And they very kindly stepped in last minute and learned everything. And I had many conversations with Alex throughout that week of the run. But every single time we spoke, I was in full Bia get-up with my brunette wig and all the outfits and atrocious brunette eyebrows that I had to draw on because my natural brows are too fair. But we had many lovely conversations. And then after our very final performance, the cast, as I think you guys discussed in episode 1, we all went out clubbing afterwards. And on the way to the club, I was walking next to Alex and we were having a lovely discussion. And about 10 minutes into this discussion, Alex goes, "So did you enjoy the show?" And I went, "As in you, like, yeah, I loved being in the show. It was fantastic. I'd love to be in the show again." They went, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize, like, when you guys are in your morph suits, I just can't recognize who is who." And I went, "Alex, I was Bia. We've had many, many conversations before." And the way their jaw dropped to the floor, and they just looked at me like, "What?" And I was like, "I'm Bia." They did not know that we were two separate people. Like, they thought that we were different people. They just looked at me and went, "You're blonde? You're blonde under the wig?" Like, I had no idea. And they just thought I was a family member who'd seen the show that night. So it was really interesting kind of meeting Alex for a second time on the last night of the run. So yeah, that's the wonders that a brunette wig will do for you.
How do you know about this one? Because you told me like afterwards, you're like, "Oh, this is so funny," or whatever, like right when we got to the club. But then Alex also told me later on the dance floor, it was like, "You won't believe what happened." And hearing that perspective was really funny. But you are two different people. Like, it's completely like I think of it even as like, oh, these are two different people that I know, because I have so many pictures in my phone of you in costume and like you not. And my phone, you know how like iPhones will automatically make a folder like based on facial
Is it
recognition. It
separate?
made two separate people. And one of them, it was like, "What's this one's name?" And I was like, "Bia," because I needed it to go through and like do promotional stuff or whatever. So it separates you. It's like, this is Eva-Marie and this is Bia. And it's so different. Like your personalities are even different sometimes.
Do you know what though? It is hard at times keeping us separate because after the Fringe run, we morphed a little bit. Like, as an actor, I had to do a number of self-tapes in September and October after coming back. And the amount of times I watched back a self-tape and I'm biting my lip or like doing like, some Bia mannerisms. I was like, "Oh dear Lord, this is not good. She's stuck." Like, I can't get rid of her. Like, and it would take me so long to film an audition because I was just accidentally playing Bia. So it's going to be interesting this year, I think, doing 2 shows back to back because I've got to bin her off straight away, ready for the next one. And I'm so scared she's going to stick and linger around.
You'd be biting your lips in that one. No, it was crazy because I think for the most part, like it was easy to keep everyone like when they were off stage, like they are themselves. But I also think maybe it was because the rest of the cast was on and off a little bit more. And usually I was off stage and like would see people. You and Dylan were on a lot. And you guys are like, when you're the characters, you're separate people. You look completely different. It's so different. Dylan especially, like he puts that wig on and I'm like, that's another person I know that I don't like want to maybe sometimes. Like he's a little scared. So separate, so different. I understand Alex's confusion. I was really worried you were going to say something worse, like something I genuinely like didn't know about that was going to be scary. Because usually Eva has a tendency of dropping like random pieces of Dusk lore on Dan and I that are things that we would have loved to have known about earlier on, so we could have fixed them. Like one day she got hit in the head with a bat, stuff like that.
That was a fun day. Do you know, it was kind of a blur though. I remember it was in the baseball scene and the guy who plays Julius. Julius?
Andy?
Yeah, it is Julius. I'm getting all mixed up again. Had to swing a bat and kind of did like a bit where he pretended to hit me in the face, but like stopped a little inch away. And one night he didn't stop it in time and it smacked me right in between the things. And I remember just blackout for about 3 seconds. And then when I come to, I can see every single person who's on the stage just looking at me. Like Cosette's face was priceless. It was just everyone was terrified. And then I'm one of those people where if I don't laugh, I'll cry. So I just kind of started bursting out into hysterics, and then that sent everybody else off. And we struggled, I think, to get through that baseball scene because of the laughter. And I'm glad that the scene directly after the baseball scene, I got to lie down, to be honest, because I was feeling a bit dizzy after that. So I was glad that I got to lie on the floor for the next scene.
The absolute best part was that Dylan immediately started laughing.
Thank you for the concern, Dylan.
I was mortified, about ready to call a show stop. And Dylan, I just see he goes.
The thing about Dylan is, though, whenever he breaks character on stage, he just turns his back to the audience. Yeah. Like, there was one night where he introduced himself to Chuck in the thing, and he goes like, "Oh, I'm Edwin, sir," and he accidentally called himself Edward. And obviously, we don't use the official Twilight names because of copyright. And he just essentially went, "Edwin, Edwin, I mean Edwin." And then
no, he did it. This was like the last show, which is why it's so funny, because he made it through the entire workshop, the entire run at Fringe, like 27 performances there. It was like, he's done the show a million times, has never once said Edward. I'm like, he's not even familiar with Twilight, really. So like, it's probably far out of his mind or whatever. He introduces himself as Edward, and everyone in the audience was like, it was like a collective gasp and then silence. And he just started laughing. He like turns it like up.
But he just.
I was dying laughing, yeah. But Jamie didn't break character at all, and it's just standing there. And then when Dylan finally turned around, he just went, "Yikes!" Like, it was so funny. That's one of the regrets I have, just not having that last show recorded. There were so many crazy things that went wrong.
The baguette, the screams.
Mm-hmm.
It was even Scarlett directing a audience member out that killed me.
We have that clip. We're going to share that somewhere. That was funny.
Just go.
They laughed through the whole rest of the show. Yeah, it was. The last night was everything it was going to be, I think, after the length and chaos of the run.
Any other notable unhinged moments besides the litany that we just.
There was I think you guys know most of my unhinged stories, but one other thing that I may not have told you is, you know how Jamie's mustache for Chief Stork went missing? I once found one of the ones that went missing at the end of the show, stuck on the boot that I wear at the end, the like broken foot boot, and we realized that this mustache had just been like stuck on the toe of this boot for the entirety of the last scene, and it would have looked like I have a mustache on my foot. So that's where we found one of the mustaches.
How very 2006 of you.
Yeah. I know, it was so on trend. Bia's just a trend setter these days, so that was quite funny. Him just being like, "I found the mustache. It's on Eve's foot."
I feel like a lot of your unhinged moments and memories were probably off stage, because you took the character, like, for a parody character, so seriously, and like we're very committed to learning your mannerisms and stuff early on, which then we had you practice oftentimes, like leading up, like the rehearsals where we were like just lying on the ground and twitch for a while. Stuff like that could not have been super comfortable, but we knew you'd be down for it because your audition, you're the only one who had, you committed to the props. Like, she pulls out a ketchup bottle at the end of her audition cut, and just like, I was like, okay.
I mean, it was quite fun playing her. I still maintain it's a dangerous role. Like, Morgan's number one note for me, especially during the intimate kissing bedroom scene, was more breathing, more breathing. I want more breathing. Really breathe, more breathing. And I remember one night I genuinely thought I was going to pass out on stage, and I was like, just for 2 seconds, like, take a deep breath and actually breathe normal, because if you carry on with the Bia breathing, I'm just going to pass out, and Dylan's going to go and wake me up as he does as Edwin, and Bia's just not going to wake up.
More breathing to fill the silence, because otherwise, like, you guys were doing good on the, like, taking the time in the scene and stuff, but then sometimes it was just like staring at each other. So there needed to be an action happening.
Just my jaw going off.
Yeah,
I can't watch that scene. Whenever you post it on social media, I make myself cringe so much, and I don't know if that means I've done a good job or a bad job, but it's a fever dream watching that back. It really is.
Well, I think we talked about it in the first episode.
I wanted to jump out of my skin backstage, and I wasn't even watching it, but hearing the breathing noises backstage.
I think this is going to get cut, I'm sure, but Eva's just really good at those noises and would frequently torture us in the flat back breathing like that. I was like, we could make like a soundtrack that's just Eva creepy breathing, like in the kitchen all the time. We're like, I have a lot of Eva's most unhinged moments. I think I have captured on film in my kitchen in the middle of the night.
Oh gosh,
I really like
yeah. We've got many unhinged clips, I think, from that night. Basically, me, Morgan, Dan, and Sarah Chessie, who played Jenny, we got to the accommodation in Edinburgh, I think, a few days before the others. So naturally, Morgan was like, well, while we're here, like, let's start doing some rehearsals. And so we've got footage of me in my pajamas at 2 a.m. lying on Morgan's kitchen floor, twitching while her go like, twitch bigger, and just a video of me trying to twitch, like, as in the ballet studio scene. It was madness. It was a great way to start off rehearsals, though. A very unhinged thing.
We have videos of the day that you and Dylan met, and you had told him like months in advance that when you first met, he had to give you a piggyback ride. And he didn't know you met on stage. And he was like, okay, this girl just wants a piggyback ride.
Yeah, I'd met, like, the first interaction I ever had was Dylan was when we were cast, and Morgan was like, oh, you might want to message each other, like, you know, because you're going to be working very close together. And I think I messaged him something like, hey, Spider Monkey, like, you know, introduce myself, like, and I think I'd mentioned, like, oh, how would you feel about adding a piggyback riding? Because the workshop production, they didn't do the piggyback. And I was like, I think it'd be really funny if you're up for it. Him not knowing Twilight, he had no idea that I was talking about the production. He just thought I'd introduce myself, being like, hi, I'm Eva. Can you give me a piggyback ride, please? So that was... I didn't know that he thought it was that way until we met in person, though. And he was like, yeah, I just thought you were mental. Like,
yeah, but
I mean, I am, but...
to make up for it, you were like, oh, fair is fair. I'll give you a piggyback ride. So I've got videos of that, too. Like, you just, like, piggyback rides around the kitchen and whatever.
I mean, you know, I'm all for feminism and equality. If he's got to give me piggybacks, I'm going to give him some too.
Yeah. Everyone hit it off right away. Really well.
I think directly off of the line of thought of most unhinged is the question of what was your biggest fear going into the Fringe, and what is your biggest fear going into this Fringe? Because I think it's going to be drastically different. I know it is for me.
Ooh. I think last year. Yeah. Oh, see, this is what I mean. I can't get rid of her. I think last year what I was most scared about is, I think because Bella Swan is such a noticeable, like, and popular character in, you know, pop culture, I was a little bit scared about portraying her, and I wanted to make it obvious that the way I was portraying her was clearly a joke. Like, I wasn't taking those mannerisms seriously. It is just pure insanity, and just doing justice as well, because Abby, who played Bia in the workshop production, did such a good job. I wanted to, like, continue on that legacy. And because I knew that it was going to be seen on social media, I knew that it, essentially, even if people didn't come to see the show, my performance was going to be seen all over the internet for years to come. So I was scared about just doing the character justice last year. This year, going into it, I feel a lot more. I feel like I'm going back to my old friend Bia. She's my girl now. So I'm excited to get back in that wig and become unrecognizable again. But this year, I think I'm scared about jumping from one show to the other because they're so wildly different. I just want to make sure that we maintain the two tones of the individual shows. And yeah, I just hope that people like the new show. I already know that Dusk has got a strong following, but the new show that we're doing as well, No Filter, this year is incredible. So I'm hoping that we can get some Dusk fans onto that one as well.
Morgan, what are your fears going into this year?
Yeah, I don't know what everything last year. Like, it was so new and the timeline was so rushed and all of that. This year, I think it feels better in a way, like the Dusk stuff, because we know, I mean, we are now a lot more familiar with our audience and really engaged. Like I run the Instagram account and get to talk to people all the time and have an idea now of like, okay, this is like what they'd like to see in the future. And these are the parts that they feel strongly about and all of that. So knowing that and having it be like pretty similar to the stuff that we already thought, like, okay, this is like our strong points and these are things that are changing and all of that is helpful for sure. But it's also a smaller team working on the shows and everything. So that's been tough. And it's not like, it's not so much flexibility and freedom now of like we're creating something from scratch. And if people like if there's something that isn't exactly how we want it, like people won't know because now like they kind of do. And there's a little bit of pressure because the show sold out last year. So we're like, okay, like we definitely want people that either didn't get to see it or that did see it and are excited about somewhat different content to come back and feel like they're getting what they're hoping for. So there's a little bit of pressure there, but also it's just like the timing and trying to get everything done in the amount of time that we've had. I've frequently joked that I'm like, this is a niche reference, but like this has to be what the victors in Catching Fire felt like when they found out they had to play the Hunger Games again. Like this has to be the same feeling for sure. Like we probably like if we don't survive this, like that's just expected, right? Like it would be amazing if we do, but I do think it will be okay. And I think now also being able to set real goals for like what we want to accomplish at Fringe and hopefully afterwards takes a little bit of like the stress and anxiety off. Because going into it last year, we knew like things could come out of Fringe, but we didn't know what to aim for. Like we had just been working on getting the project performance ready for, I don't know, at that point, like a little bit over a year from the time that the concept first started, not like from the first performance or anything like that. So we didn't have too much time really to think about like, how are we gonna like go about networking and all of that. And now that we've had the space of the year to kind of figure out, like, here's our audience, these are the places that we think the show would perform well in and all of that, like there's a level of interest for this type of thing amongst these demographic groups or whatever. That's a little bit of a relief, like to know how to start conversations. But the pressure is absolutely on. I think all of us are feeling that.
I would say
What
one
about
of
you?
my biggest fears going into this run of the show is completely different than what I thought about last year because I am very afraid of medical emergencies. As
Val-
as have been alluded to, we had many medical emergencies that happened during the run of the show for various production team and cast members. So I am very hopeful that we do not continue to have medical emergencies. Yeah, and unrelated to that, about the process itself, just the, accelerated timelines. There's a lot of people coming into a space all at once. There's a lot of big personalities. There's lots of different experiences, different, approaches to the creative process. And we have new people coming in who weren't with us last year. And so I'm really hoping that we all blend together seamlessly like we did last year, somehow miraculously, and that we continue to just grow our Dusk No Filter family, the Wishbone Media family. Yeah, that's fear/hope as well, trying to spin that as much as possible and no injuries.
I know. I think we know though better how to go about certain things for sure. And I think as unfortunate as it was, a lot of the injuries and like health concerns were heat related. We have a new venue that is air conditioned, so hopefully that won't be an issue. But I think the group that we have coming in, we have 4 new actors coming in, and they seem so excited and so great. And I'm excited to start working with them as a group now. But you're right, like I think everyone that we've worked with so far kind of understands where we're coming from, like as a production company, with our kind of values being in collaboration and helping support emerging artists and kind of help them gain visibility and stuff, not so much like a traditional commercial production sort of thing. And I think that everyone coming in also understands and respects that. So that I'm not worried about, but I could see it being uncomfortable if a group didn't and they were like expecting a more like familiar commercialized process.
So now's the time for the time capsule. Our manifestations. What we think is going to happen, predictions. How's it gonna happen, ladies? How's it gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Who's gonna see it? What's gonna happen to us next year?
Should we start with like end goals, like what we want to happen and how we're going to get there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then we can get progressively more unhinged as we always do. 100%.
Okay.
Morgan.
Should we tell them about the commune?
Oh, we can talk about the commune in a minute. But let's start with
I was like, that's the end goal. Okay. I know how much you guys all want to be performing in front of other audiences. Like, as much as we all love Fringe, it's only a month of the year, and it would be really fun to be able to bring the show to audiences outside of just Edinburgh too. I know there's a large group that really wants to see something happen in London, or potentially talk about touring and stuff. That's something I think we could start conversations about with people at Fringe this year that we weren't really ready to last year. So I know for you guys, like that would be my hope for you guys to get to keep doing the show in a new way, like the stuff that we're kind of refreshing and taking everyone's feedback for the most part, like audience feedback and stuff into consideration, but also knowing now like what we want the goals of the show to be and everything like that. I think that we'll have a product that is more ready to be seen by other audiences, which would be exciting. We're also working on licensing the performance rights. We have like school groups and universities, community theaters and stuff like that reach out frequently enough that we know like there's some interest there, and we would love to have it available for other people to perform because it is like such a good ensemble show, meaning like there's a cast of X amount of characters or whatever that all have like somewhat equal of like a role in building the story and the stage time and everything. So I think that that lends itself so well to educational settings and the community settings and stuff. It started as a project going along with like a university theater program, and it worked really well to be able to bring people in on the like collaborative design and stuff process for this show. So I think it would be really cool to share that with other groups that are trying to learn something about theater while doing something more lighthearted, like where they aren't having to focus so much on taking the character super seriously and like getting the depth and stuff right. And I know a lot of university theater shows that I've been involved with have been either like historical based or like golden age musical stuff that people already know and have a strong opinion about. And I think it does take some pressure off, like knowing that the content is intended to be silly. So like it's harder to criticize if people are worried about the performances, which also I think lends itself nicely to newer actors who might feel uncomfortable trying something that they feel like is going to be like heavily critiqued because of the expectations of a character. There's a lot more freedom, I think, in getting to build a character that is intended to be like a parody or have a degree of satire to it. So we would love to see that happen, not necessarily as a result of Fringe, but within the next several months. That's something that we're working on. I don't know like how unhinged that can become though. What are your guys' goals? And then maybe we'll get there.
In terms of the show, I would love to see very much manifesting a future for Dusk. Similarly, I know that on social media we've got a lot of demands for the show to tour and to be seen elsewhere, and it'd be really nice for our audience to get that and to be able to access live performances easier, and also nice for us as actors because essentially we've created a little family now, as Cosette said, and we were all gutted when we left each other last year, and we're so excited to see each other in person again. So it'd be nice to work with those people like on a more regular basis. That'd be lovely. In terms of like more personal and less like about the grand scheme of the show, this year I'm manifesting that it is stress-free. We've got no venue issues, that everything runs a lot smoother. I know I can already tell that the rehearsal week is going to be a lot smoother this year, and I'm just manifesting that it's easy, it's smooth, we're relaxed. I think now that we've done 1 year at Fringe, we all kind of know what to expect, so we're going to be a lot more chill about the process. I'm just manifesting nice chill vibes. That's what I'm manifesting for us guys as actors, and you as the creative team and whatnot as well.
It would be cool, yeah. What about you, Cosette?
I am manifesting no illness. I am manifesting networking out the wazoo, getting our name out there even more, getting the name of, No Filter and Wishbone, getting people who want to collaborate with us in the future, making friends, making, more localized connections and globalized connections. I'm manifesting selling out.
Probably good.
Definitely, let's manifest that one.
I am manifesting. What else am I manifesting here? I'm working so hard here, guys.
I have my personal ones.
I am manifesting that I get to work with Wyatt every day as well again. Because he's very excited about possibly coming back. He's told me
I thought he was coming back.
Oh, 100% he is. He's just like, I'm just waiting for them to text me.
Oh, no. We're just trying to schedule that meeting. We have to get Alex's availability.
Yeah, I'm manifesting health and well-being and balance and a lot less caffeine consumed by the cast, because I was so worried that you guys were just gonna have freaking heart attacks with the
Here's the
amount
thing,
of Lewis Hamilton monsters.
Well, but I was going to say Lewis Hamilton Monster is our unofficial sponsor, and they might be that flavor might be discontinued. So they have to get it in while they can. I'm just kidding. I'm not encouraging the overconsumption of caffeine.
Oh, Dylan smashing through a monster 5 minutes before he goes on stage. 1, unhinged. 2, how does that boy not have to pee 2 minutes in?
Dylan's a different breed of human being, though, so it's okay. Like, Dylan survives on energy drinks and hot sauce.
Yeah, he would taste of hot sauce in the bedroom scene every night. I can't confirm that. I remember there was one night we went out for dinner before, and he was like, "Oh, I've had loads of garlic bread. I'm really sorry." And I was like, "It's fine. I've eaten the garlic bread too."
Oh, I'm manifesting on-time public transit to and from the venues. I'm manifesting that happens.
What about an on-time get out every night?
And I am manifesting really, really nice and accommodating people who work in our venue. Both past, present, and future. I wish nothing but the best for them. And great bar staff who are kind. Yes, that is all. That is all. Those are my personal manifestations, and it'll be so funny to look back on these, hopefully.
A personal manifestation of mine that's been like a year in the making now is becoming your neighbor's full time, right? I've now had the experience of sort of like, I was by you for about a week, but being Eva's neighbor in the UK, and then Cosette's for a little bit, and I'm like, how can I live without that? It has nothing to do with anything else related to why I would want to move, right? But that would be something I would love to have come out of Fringe. Right now, I've been working on like my different visa options to relocate to the UK, because I'm working with these guys a lot and other people that are all based over there. And the time change thing, like, or time zone thing, we have probably touched on a little bit in other episodes, but I think I'm affected by it more than some others because I'm working with all of you like all the time. Like right now, the other creator we're working with for Fringe this summer is about to leave for China and will be 12 and a half hours ahead of me. And Dan is about to leave for the UK at the same time. So you guys will all be like 5 hours ahead. We still have people in California, so they're 3 hours behind. So my day today is going to look like a 15 and a half hour time difference between coworkers. And I would just love to be where most of you are. So that's something
long
I
distance.
personally manifest is a clear plan for the time frame in which I'm moving. And I think right now it's looking hopeful for by next summer, but we'll figure that out.
Oh, by the way, this is the podcast crew. These are the people who have been putting things together. Also, Sarah, who is in the ensemble, is the editor, and they are phenomenal. And we love Sarah. I'm just
Sarah
throwing
might
that into the ether.
this podcast and tell us to re-record it.
No, not allowed.
I feel like we've got so off topic on so many places just talking about unhinged stuff, but I love it.
It's going to be like a 20-minute episode with just usable clips at this point.
We'll just say that there was like bad audio in the middle and we just had a
The funny thing is there's so many things like we haven't even mentioned that we really could just go on all night.
Well, that's going to be, is this where we plug our new podcast?
Oh, well, but before we get to the future of the pod, potentially, one more wholesome thing about the process of if you could go back and tell yourself one little bit of wisdom before you started this whole process, what would it be? And consequently, what would you tell yourself going into this process? What's your mantra? What was your mantra then? What is your mantra now? And then we can reflect on that because it'll be really cute because this comes out later.
Watch this by the time it comes out, though. We're like, fuck that. None of that was accurate.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
I changed my mind on everything.
Be like, what were we smoking when we were all positive?
Yeah.
If I had to give advice to my past self, it would be keep lip balm in your pocket because your lips are going to hurt after biting them as much as you do. Mantra, though, I don't know for this year. Have you got any mantras that you think would apply to me?
Hydrate or dihydrate.
Yeah. Also, I'm really hoping to keep the wig in a better condition this year. I think this year going into it, I'm going to Google wig care a lot more.
I told her the day that Jack sent her a picture of her wig for No Filter, no Febreze will ever touch this. Because that was her wig maintenance. I was like, Eva, what are you doing? And she's spraying it down with Febreze.
We had limited supplies available and the wig was because it was stuck to my neck and it was a long show and I got very sweaty. I mean, part of the show I was under a duvet under the stage lights. I was very sweaty. And the wig kind of cotted, and the only way I could get the cuts out was to like spray water on it. But the smell, just like, I mean, I've washed that wig a million times, but Febreze ended up being the best thing to decot it and to de-smell it on short notice. And I know that you shouldn't Febreze a wig, but it's all I had.
This is one of the things, Eva, where I'm like, if I had known, I would have gotten you like leave-in conditioner or something like that. But the communication sometimes is like,
you
ask first, think later.
You putting Febreze on your wig, I just felt a collective disturbance in the force of like costume, hair, and makeup people.
It's all good though, because it will annoy the wig menace, and that's my goal. So.
Okay, but Eva was talking about having a rash on her neck, and I'm like, do you think maybe it's because you're sweating Febreze all over yourself and having it bake into your skin every night?
Oh, I'll never forget
heat rash.
I will never forget walking into the dressing room and you taking your wig off and me being like, "Are you okay?" And you didn't know that it was all over your back.
Yeah, I had like an itchy scalp, but I just thought that's because I was sweating under a wig for like 3 hours every night, or another 3 hours in the afternoon on the 2 show days. But when I took off my wig one night, everyone was like, "Your head is covered in blisters," and I was like, "Oh no, that's not good." But it made for some real lovely bonding moments. I remember like Helen and Lizzie like putting loads of like medicine cream all over my scalp after shows to try and ease it.
Do you know when I found out about this?
No.
Like October. The show ended. We could have done
No,
so
I definitely told you. I definitely told you in the last week.
No, not before the show ended. You were telling me the details of it on Halloween, and I was like, we could have helped you. But all I heard was, oh yeah, Cosette's wig melted. And I was like, meaning what exactly? And do we need a new one? And then the show was over. And then you were just saying your head was itchy. And I was like, is it the Febreze? Like, should you stop? I had no idea.
Just for the record, I did not use Febreze not nearly as much as you guys are making out. I did. It was like just on the ends to decot.
The bar is on the floor. If you use Febreze on the wig once, it's too many times.
I just didn't know it was something we had to worry about. I went over to her place before a show one time. It's like, come and get you or something. And then you're spraying it, like whatever. And then the way you brushed it was horrific. Like just like
it was so cutty. I tried everything with that wig. I spoke to Angela. I went out and bought a certain kind of shampoo and conditioner just for the wig because Angela said that those brands weren't the best. That did not work. I was washing it in the bathtub at like 2 a.m. trying to get it so it would be dry for the next day of shows. At one point, Angela was like, if you need to like cut out the knots and the clots of the hair. So at one point I gave it a haircut. But I mean, you can see the evidence. If you look at the show photos, the wig has got a lovely gentle curl to it. And if you look at the video recording, it looks like a dead chihuahua on my head or something. Like it's ridiculous. Like it did not look good by the end of that run.
I think Fringe though, like we know now for sure, because that you already knew, is like pure insanity. And I think that's why it holds such a special place for people because there's nothing quite like it except for maybe my Hunger Games analogy, because I do think it will dehumanize you as you go through it. And by the end, you might not be a recognizable form of yourself. Like there were so many things people will like afterwards. They're like, I can't believe that came out of my mouth, or like, no, that wasn't me in human form or anything like that. It's like pure survival mode for the sake of art and performance. So it's like, I don't know, it's hard to be like, it's something you have to take so seriously when your job every night was to go be sparkly high school vampires or something. But everyone does, like you guys are all performers and stuff. But there's nothing like Fringe, for sure.
A truly unique experience.
Nothing like it. I tried to warn you guys.
I know. I think going into it this time, we're all much more like the ones who've done it before, much more prepared and aware of like personal things we need to watch out for and keep in check, which is great, like working with the same group again, because we can help keep each other like in line in that way, I think, which will be awesome. But I don't know. I mean, like, it's also the anticipation of living through it again. It won't be the same. It won't be like that. Everyone's going to be so human for a vampire, you know? You'll be good.
Or the embodiment of a social media.
Of social media?
Yeah. That's no filter. We're like the physical embodiments of various social medias.
Right. I was thinking of Dusk and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I was trying to bring it full circle.
No, you're so right. No Filter is also a lot more grounded of a piece. It's like definitely a mission-driven show. The mission not being silliness and like humor. So I think it'll help balance everything out. It'll keep everything in perspective. Hopefully.
We're manifesting. It's going to
keep everything. Yeah. No, you have a mantra. What has it been? It's been calm, easy, something else.
Yeah, we want it like calm, relaxed, stress-free. That's what we want. We're manifesting relaxed, chill vibes.
Manifesting new friends and networking, manifesting time outside of the flat. Hopefully we're not so tired and everything this time that like and working around the clock that we actually get to enjoy the festival and celebrate in the other art that's there, which is what a lot of people were sad they didn't get to do much of last time. I don't know. I mean, I think this is totally unrelated, but there's been some really good music to come out this year. So I think the pubs and clubs are going to have great music. Like everyone could go and dance and have a great time this year. Don't you think?
Whatever remaining vestiges of energy they have after performing 2 shows a day for 2 weeks.
I think Chaperone's going to do a lot for Fringe. I don't know.
Oh, unofficial sponsor of getting hype in the dressing
That would
room.
be incredible, right? No, for real. We for sure have to. Everyone's going to be doing a hot to go dance before every performance.
Ooh. Good warm up, that.
I think my mantra this is very, very silly, but couldn't say it any better than the Serenity Prayer. Just grant me the serenity to accept what I can change and what I can't, and to know the difference. I'm over to snatch your wig.
Yeah. There's also Snatch Your Wig reminded me, we have really funny unhinged clips from the piggyback situation of Eva's wig falling off, like mid piggyback, and Dylan having to put it back on. You remember when we were filming in the woods?
Yeah, it was like the day after I'd met him, and once he'd finally realized that the piggyback was like a production thing, Morgan was like, right, well, let's get like straight the way. First costumes. We'll get into our costumes for the first time. She's like, Dylan, I want you to run up that hill with Eva on your back. And we had to film it again and again. And for the first few takes, my wig was getting caught on the buttons of his coat. So he would run and the wig would just like be pulled with his head. And then we'd have to stop, go down the hill, put the wig back on, and then go again. The poor lad, the amount of times he ran up that hill with me on his back. I do feel for him.
I feel for Sarah trying to edit this into something.
Honestly, I'm so sorry, Sarah. Like the amount of times that we've jumped back to a topic, like way after. I'm so sorry.
Another wig snatch moment that I do wish we had on camera, I think about it all the time, was the performance where Zia's wig fell off right before Meet the Family, or right, like it was like during a song. I think it was Meet the Family. Jamie did some sort of like dip, and Zia's wig fell all the way off. And then she stood up and just started like putting it back on and like dancing in a circle. But for a second there, Mom was bald. And then that's when Eva was like, can we please make it part of like the lore of the show that all of the Collins wear wigs? Like, because there's a Twilight theory that that's true.
That they're all bald.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Eva was like, can we please?
I think it's already canon within the sewers, definitely. But within our show, why not? Let's go for it.
We do have a segment that I might revive on Instagram we were playing a while ago called Lore, where we were letting the following just decide new crazy, like voting between things on Instagram stories, and whatever was decided would become official Dusk lore that may or may not appear on stage. We want it to be a collaborative thing. We want everyone to feel like they were part of it. So maybe we bring that back this summer. By the time this comes out, they'll know if we did.
But by the time this comes out, they'll know if season 2 happens as well. And I mean, I can't think of a better segue into us just saying like, where can the people find us? Where can they connect with us? How can they support after the Fringe?
Yeah, maybe we say where they can support and find everything and what they might find there after Fringe, like the plans are post Fringe 2024. Well, we can be found on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at dusk_musical. I know Sarah was including our email. We can be emailed at dusk.musical@gmail.com. And if you are interested in potentially performing the show, I would say maybe email us, because we'll start putting together a list of anyone who's interested, and that'll really help our case for making the rights licensable for you guys. And you can buy the pro shot of the Fringe 2023 production on Vimeo, but you could also find that in our link tree, and you can stream the album on all major music streaming services. I'm trying to think what else. We will have a filmed production of the Fringe show, Fringe 2024, which we are calling Dusk, a bite-sized celebration, because it is celebrating the fans and everything that Twilight fans in general, like everything that they stand for, because without the memes, we wouldn't have Dusk. So it's all for you guys. But that's probably going to be a limited edition event, and I don't think we'll probably perform that version of the show again. So that'll be available to view. We'll announce where, I'm sure, on Instagram. And then some other things you might be able to find there. I know we're going to start doing longer form content soon here, so definitely follow on YouTube. We'll have all the podcast episodes living there, but Eva and I have been working on a completely unhinged project related to Dusk for the past, I don't know, almost a year, I guess. And we're going to be working on that a little bit more this summer. We've talked about potentially having some new projects that are going to live there as well. Those might be out by then. We'll see. I don't know. What would you guys like to see on all of the social media? I'm sure we can make it happen. Any other future projects you want to work on that we haven't talked about, but like have maybe started thinking about?
Ooh, one thing at a time, honey. One thing at a time.
We might see more content this style from us. Like we'll probably be recording a season 2 of this podcast and likely starting a couple new shows like in the next year here. We have some plans for future musicals, but we don't have a time frame on that yet. Right now, we're really focused on the further development of Dusk and No Filter, which I don't know. I think maybe we should record just a bonus episode with Jack and have him talk about what that show means and that whole process. But yeah, there's going to be stuff continuing to come out. You'll see more of everybody, I'm sure.
Eva, is there anything you want to plug before we say goodbye to the people?
You can follow me on Insta and TikTok. Eva-Marie.insta on Insta and Eva-Marie.tiktok on TikTok. I make it nice and easy for people. I don't post it enough, but I will try. I will try and post more. It's weird plugging. I feel like I'm a YouTuber or something.
Well, might as well. We've got a platform, and people have probably listened to us speak for an hour and a half at this point, depending on...
If you're still watching, well done, because we have not made it easy for you.
No,
If
we
the
really
episode is 20 minutes, no, it was longer originally.
just
We've
know,
been here for about an hour and a half, so...
we've been recording for a long while. So just know if you're still here and it was only 20 minutes, that Sarah took some creative license and put us out of our own misery. So on that note, we conclude season 1 of Dusk, a Two-Lit podcast. Thank you guys for watching, listening to us babble. And we will see you soon, hopefully. Goodbye, snack cakes.